It's an opinion, I think, based in fact, and it was just reinforced by the exchange that Rand Paul had with Dr. Fauci.
Right.
Dr. Fauci would not say that the United States government was involved in partnership with the Wuhan people on a virus. Now, what I think, what do I think happened? I really do believe that they were playing with viruses, and they do that all the time. By the way, this is not
right
this.
up in
This
North Carolina, just the state north of me. They have a lab where they call them chimeric SARS-CoV viruses.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do that so that you can try to get antidotes and vaccines and remedies. That's how these things work.
Well, it's really more military application, I believe, but
some I don't doubt that that's some of it too, but a lot of it is medical. Okay, and I do not doubt that the research being done at that Wuhan lab there was nothing evil about it. However, the way the Chinese do things, they were probably very careless. And I don't doubt that we funded them. And because we wanted to take some of the credit for the things that happened, and you can do it cheaper over there than over here, and okay. And then they screwed up, they let it out, and then they said, oops. Now, to me, I think that's what happened. Based on what everyone said, I put 1 + 1 + 1 together, it equals 3. I think this is what's happened. Now, let's say I'm right. What would have happened if they said, look, here's what we were doing. Here's what happened. We screwed up big time. And here's what we're going to do to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
I'd be all right with that. I really would.
I mean, definitely some heads would need to roll.
Oh, sure. Oh, of course. Who screwed up? You're out. Maybe you go to jail. At least you don't work in that industry anymore. I get that. Things happen. Mistakes happen. But why won't you ever admit to an error? And Dr. Fauci, he has to have pictures of somebody because
how is he still?
I don't know, because he has lied, and I think he's a smart man. I think he's a real doctor. He's not a doctor like Dr. J or Dr. Phil. Okay, he's a real doctor. He's a smart guy, but he's dishonest. He's condescending. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else, so he can't tell you the truth. And he's an end justifies the means guy.
I would say he's evil, personally.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
Yeah.
But for some reason they've kept him in there, and he lied about the AIDS thing. He admitted to lying about it. He admitted to saying, you know what? Yeah, we knew all along that AIDS was a homosexual spread disease. But if we had said that, we'd have never got funding to fight AIDS. Which, by the way, where is the AIDS vaccine?
Yeah.
They don't have one.
Yeah.
Just like the Ebola vaccine, they don't have one.
Right.
So, so Dr. Fauci is. I'm not going to say he's not an evil person. He's not a good guy. He needs to be out, and you need to put somebody in there that the public can trust.
Yeah,
it ain't him.
Prison, honestly. Yeah, he lied to Congress about the NIH funding Wuhan lab, or not funding it, whatever. And then when Rand Paul called him out and said, "You lied in front of Congress," I'm yelling at my computer screen, "Where is the Capitol Police to lock this man up and charge him with lying to Congress? Why are you just saying, hey, you lied to Congress, here's what the penalty is. Do you still want to lie?"
Yeah.
No, that he lied. You caught him in the lie. He lied. He needs to pay the price.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't happen. So it shows me it's all just political theater.
And that's why I think he has pictures of somebody. He's got to.
He has to. Or he's just in that club. You know, like George Collins said, it's a great big club and you ain't in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? I feel like the trust of our government is at an all-time low, which I think is a good thing, personally. I think we shouldn't trust our government. History has shown that when you give governments unlimited power, that bad stuff happens. And so we need to take back control of our government and not trust them and hold them accountable. That's kind of what I'm trying to do in my county.
Unfortunately, the grassroots efforts like you're doing, I think are good, but you know,
it's extremely difficult.
But to say take our government back, that's what every politician wants, to take the government back. The people need to take back the government. That's what every politician says. And that
when I say that, I'm not talking about the federal government or the state government. I'm talking about my county.
You're talking
That's all I'm
about
worried
you're talking
about.
about county councils and city
Yeah.
aldermen and things like that.
Yeah.
Things you can actually control.
Correct.
Because quite often they don't have D's and R's behind their names. Even they're just guys
Right.
and gals. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The whole, and that's where Trump lost me. Let's make America great again. Well, son, I think America's still great. You're not going to make it greater. I mean,
No.
ask anybody in Afghanistan, ask anybody in
Right.
Pakistan, ask anybody in just about any country.
Anyway.
We are still, is
We're the best.
is the eagle tarnished a bit? Sure. But is it still the best place in the world to be? It is.
Mm-hmm.
And don't say, wow, it was much better back in the 50s. Okay.
No way.
First of all, ask anyone black. Was the
Right.
United States better in the 60s? Was it?
Right.
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
You want to go back to having your kids put an iron lung or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, things were better back at the turn of the last century. No, they weren't, because the number one death of children back then was ear infections. Kids died of ear infections because they didn't have antibiotics.
Right.
No, things were not good. You didn't have air conditioning. You didn't have cars. You didn't have medicine.
Air conditioning is the big one.
Yeah.
Every day I walk outside here in South Carolina, I think to myself, how in the hell did South Carolina get settled back in 17? How did this happen? How did people not just come here for a week and say, I am one giant mosquito bite and I'm sweating to death. I'm going back to England. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. I have to think the same thing.
I don't get it.
Maybe that's just where they wintered. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll winter in South Carolina and we'll summer in Cape Cod.
Right. Yeah. This is wild. But I want to talk about the vaccine now, if you don't mind.
Please do.
Please do. I don't want to control your show.
No. Please do. We that's what we want to talk about. Please.
I am 100% against this vaccine. I am not anti-vax per se, because I have all my hepatitis vaccines because of my job. Like I come in contact with blood and poop and vomit and urine and all that stuff from some shady individuals who definitely have hepatitis.
Mm-hmm.
I just assume everybody has hepatitis. This shot now, after the normal process, and we talked about it on the podcast yesterday, to get from inception of a new medicine, it costs about $2.6 billion, and it'll take 12 to 15 years to get to market on normal medication.
Through normal channels based on history.
Right. And then there is a fast track they talk about, though. But you have to show efficacy. It has to be safe. And then you don't get to skip the trials, the human trials. It appears that these vaccines did. Like they tested animals for a little bit, then they went straight to human trials, and then straight to everybody. Now they're all in the hospitals, and we're pushing them. The forcefulness of the campaigning for this vaccine makes me suspect. The fact that the medical calls that I am running now as a first responder, when we get a call, it'll be, let's say, breathing problems. And we'll get there and it'll be a lady saying, I'm having trouble breathing, but I know it's not coronavirus because I've had my vaccine. And we're like, oh, okay. At first, I just didn't even think about it. I'm like, I don't need to know that. I'm just going to fix your feet, fix you up and get you to the hospital. Then we start seeing cardiac issues. Atrial fibrillation or a heart attack or tachycardia type stuff. And the guy's like, I've taken all my medicine. I don't know what's going on. It just doesn't feel right. We had a guy, 64 years old, my last shift, perfectly healthy. He plays pickleball regularly, on no medications for anything, doesn't have high blood pressure, nothing. He's having a heart attack. The only thing that he changed was getting the vaccine. Later that night, we had 2 people in the same house positive. They tested positive for COVID on Tuesday. One of them had a fever of 103.1. They were vaccinated back in March. So these are these breakthrough cases that you're hearing, that now you're going to need a booster shot, all this sort of stuff. If you look at Israel, are you familiar with that? What's going on over there now?
Yeah, yes, but go ahead.
They're finding severe COVID-19 breakthrough cases, mostly in older patients with pre-existing conditions, which is what we're seeing, what I'm seeing here. And that's just my anecdotal evidence. I'm not keeping track of records, medical records, nothing like that. But they're saying at least half to 80% of their hospitalized COVID patients are vaccinated. 50 to 80%.
Well, now they had a similar problem in Britain.
Yeah.
But most people are vaccinated in Israel. Most people are vaccinated in England. They both have like
Israel
80%
is the
plus.
most vaccinated country.
Yes, and UK is not far behind them. And the UK has the same statistics. Look, most people going into the hospital have been vaccinated. Well, right. It's because most people are vaccinated anyway. It'd be like saying, well, you know, in the NFL, everybody who gets a knee injury is a man. Well, that's because they're all men. There's no women in the NFL, okay?
Okay. But then we go to Japan. Japan has suspended 1.6 million doses of the Moderna shot.
That's because of suspected
foreign substances.
Right.
There's a foreign substance in the vaccine.
Well, the foreign substance, I understand, is it's metal particles or something that may have gotten in during processing.
Kind of metal particles in there. So,
right, that's how things are processed, and that's how manufacturing works.
Right. I think that comes from rushing, though, from trying to get
probably
the product rushed to market. So you're kind of, you know,
hurry up and screw up
a little bit harder or whatever.
Yep.
So that's my concern with it is the how quickly they have put this to market. Without full human trials, without all, you know, getting all the data about, you know, and if you look on the AIRS website, I think it's spelled AERS. It's a government site. Let's see if I can find it here real quick. But where people are reporting all sorts of adverse reactions. But this is self-reporting. This is through the FDA, and people self-report saying, you know, I got the vaccine. Here's what happened to me. If you read some of these, though, it is shocking some of the side effects these people are having. But like you said, it's somewhere in the middle, right? So we just had a paramedic here in Lancaster County where I work. He died from the coronavirus. He died from COVID-19. He got it. He got sick. Got in the hospital. Never recovered, and he died.
Was he vaccinated?
No, he was not. So COVID-19 is real and it kills people. Now he was probably over 300 pounds and used one of those vape cartridges too.
Yeah.
Which, if any doctor comes out and says you need to get vaccinated to defend against COVID-19 and blah blah blah, but if they don't also say you need to change your diet and your lifestyle and get healthier and lose weight in the same breath, I am going to discount what that doctor says.
I don't disagree with that either. I think that's doctors don't want to.
You're a drug pusher. You're not a healthcare provider.
Right. I am very fortunate. For the past 20 years, I've had great doctors. I had a great doctor who retired, gave me to a guy who's a great doctor. And every reason you've given to be suspect of the vaccine is legitimate. It's for real. You should question it. I'm fully vaccinated. I've been fully vaccinated since the middle of April. And the reason I got the vaccine is my doctor, whom I trust, said to get it. And he basically...
that's totally fine.
Right. And he said, look, and I had a discussion with somebody, and we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And finally this guy said, look, the only people who need to get the vaccine are old people. And I looked, and this was a guy who was in his 30s. I looked at him and I said, guess what, son? I'm old people. so I'm getting the vaccine. Okay. I'm in that demographic. My doctor said, he said, look, this thing's not going away. He said, the way these things work is they mutate, they change. This is going to be around for a long, long time.
It's here now.
And he said, you need to get vaccinated because that's the only way you're going to get rid of it. And that's if you want to live something that resembles a normal life at your age, you need to get vaccinated. I said, yes, sir. And I did.
Well, I was back